It was 11:47 p.m. Melissa stood in the hallway, staring at her son's closed bedroom door. For the third night in a row, he had skipped dinner. He said he wasn't hungry, that he was just tired. But something felt off. Earlier that week, his teacher mentioned he'd stopped raising his hand in class, and he'd always been that kid curious, full of questions. Now, silent, withdrawn, not angry, not crying. Just different. Melissa couldn't put her finger on it, but deep down, she knew something had changed. Something she couldn't explain. Something he couldn't say. This is the story so many parents never see coming. And by the time they do, it's often after the silence has gone on far too long. The invisible battle our kids are fighting. Mental health in children doesn't always look like what we expect. It isn't always tears, tantrums, or dramatic outbursts. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's a kid who suddenly stops enjoying the things they used to love. Or a teen who isolates themselves more than usual. Or even a cheerful child who's using that cheerfulness to mask anxiety. Children aren't great at saying, "I feel depressed," or "I'm overwhelmed." They'll show you instead through sleep changes, appetite changes, irritability, stomach aches before school, or perfectionism that becomes paralyzing. Why does this happen? Because kids don't have the language yet. They feel things deeply, but they don't always know how to name what they're feeling. Quick stat. According to the CDC, 1 in 5 children in the US has a diagnosable mental health disorder, but over half don't receive treatment. Why? Because many parents simply don't know what to look for. The silent shift, what parents often miss. Melissa's story isn't rare. In fact, if you're a parent, children, coach, or teacher, you've probably seen it too. At first, it's small. A skipped meal, a shorter conversation, a lack of eye contact, no tantrum, no rebellion, just a slow, quiet fade. This is what we call the silent shift. It's the moment when something begins to change inside a child emotionally, socially, or mentally, and they don't know how to talk about it, or they're afraid to. Kids don't always say, "I'm sad." They say, "I'm tired." They don't always say, "I'm anxious." They say, "I don't feel like going today." They won't say, "I feel invisible." They'll just go quiet. And most of the time, this silence gets mistaken for independence, maturity, just growing up. But silence isn't always golden. Sometimes it's a red flag. And the earlier we recognize it, the sooner we can help. What they're not saying and how to hear it anyway. Here's something we rarely talk about. Kids aren't just fighting battles. They're often fighting them alone in silence because they think we won't understand. Not because we don't care, but because they're afraid we'll worry or lecture or try to fix things too fast. So they stay quiet, and in doing so, the gap between us and them gets wider. But there's good news. You don't need to be a therapist to support your child's mental health. You just need to be present. Not perfect, not all-knowing, not pushy, just available. Start with this. Replace questions with observations. Instead of asking, "What's wrong?" try, "I noticed you've been quiet lately. That's not like you, and I just want you to know I'm here if you want to talk." It lowers their defenses. It invites safety. And most importantly, it shows you see them. Create a safe space without saying a word. Kids are more likely to open up in moments of calm, not confrontation. Think car rides, bedtime, cooking together, drawing, playing. That's when their guard comes down, and your opportunity to connect goes up. Tip: if your child opens up, don't jump in with solutions. Say things like, "That sounds hard. I'm really glad you told me. Do you want me to help you fix it or just listen?" These phrases don't just build trust. They build emotional safety, the foundation of mental wellness in kids. Everyday tools that strengthen a child's mind. Mental health support doesn't always come in the form of therapy sessions or diagnosis codes. Often, it starts with the little things done consistently, with intention. Let's talk about 3 powerful daily tools every parent can use. 1. Routines equals security. Kids crave predictability. When life feels chaotic on the inside, a simple routine on the outside can anchor them. Knowing what to expect each day, meals, bedtime, homework gives them a sense of control. And that sense of control, it reduces anxiety. Voicio tip: try not to overschedule. Build in buffer time. Leave space for play, quiet, or just being. The goal isn't productivity, it's peace. 2. Emotional labeling. Name it to tame it. Here's a game changer. Teach your child to name their feelings. Why? Because when a child can say, "I feel anxious," they don't need to act anxious. It externalizes the emotion, making it something they have not, something they are. Tip: use phrases like, "It looks like you might be frustrated. Is that right? Sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, I want to be alone. Do you feel that way too?" It's okay to feel mad. Let's talk about what happened. This is emotional coaching. And over time, it helps your child build emotional literacy, a skill many adults still struggle with. 3. Modeling calm. Because kids mirror us. When you stay calm, your child learns calm is possible even when emotions are big. They don't learn emotional regulation by being told to calm down. They learn it by watching you self-regulate. Tip: try narrating your coping process. "I'm feeling really stressed right now, so I'm going to take 3 deep breaths. That was a hard moment, but I'm proud of how we handled it. Let's take a reset together." These micro moments done daily help your child build their own coping toolkit. And in the long run, they contribute to resilience, zone of the strongest mental health protectors there is. You don't have to get it perfect, just be present. If there's one thing we want every parent to hear, it's this: you don't have to have all the answers. You don't need a psychology degree. You don't even have to fix everything. What your child needs most is you present, listening, learning, growing with them. Mental health isn't about having a perfect life. It's about having the tools, the space, and the people to handle the imperfect ones. So if you've noticed a shift in your child, trust your gut. Ask the questions. Get curious, not critical. Because early support is powerful support. Community matters, and you're not alone. You were never meant to do this alone. Whether it's reaching out to a therapist, joining a parent circle, or just texting a trusted friend after a hard day, connection heals. And guess what? When your child sees you seek support, they learn that it's okay for them too. Mental health isn't a one-time conversation, it's a lifestyle. A series of choices to show up, to stay present, and to make space for the hard stuff. So here's what we wish every parent knew about kids' mental health. It's not always loud. It's not always clear, but it's always worth paying attention to. And the best part? You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to care enough to keep showing up. Because your presence, your listening, your willingness to grow, that's what creates a foundation your child can stand on. If this video spoke to you or reminded you of a child in your life, share it with someone who might need it. Let's keep these conversations going, because mental health starts at home, and it starts with us.